Hey, today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things, and that is how to be a good co-writer. This is something that I just feel is so important. And I think that if we're going to be writing with other people, we really need to be intentional about how we're treating them. So I just kind of want to spend a couple minutes and talk about that. Number one, the relationship is more important than the song. It is always going to be. It doesn't matter if you show up at a co-write and they don't use your song idea or your melody, or maybe, the song doesn't even end up going where you think it should. The relationship at the end of the day is the most important. How you leave that write, your attitude in that write is going to go so much farther than the song ever can. One of the ways I think that we can be a really good co-writer is to be a good listener. I feel like when you get into a co-write, there's so much richness in sharing each other's hearts. And being a good listener is usually what sets up the song. You might have introverts in the room who just have trouble sharing. And if you're an extrovert, just be careful not to overspeak them. Give them space to share their thoughts too. Sometimes you kind of have to pull a little bit of information out of them, and that's okay. There's times where maybe you're in that write not to do all the writing, but maybe just to offer an ear, maybe to just offer a safe place for people to share their ideas and then to be able to encourage them by writing the song that follows. So just, be self-aware in the room. Like what does a room need? Does it need the listener? Or maybe it's your time to talk. But just a good balance of both is always really important in a write. Being a good co-writer is realizing there is no bad ideas. Sometimes I feel like especially new writers, are afraid to share their ideas because they're afraid that someone's going to think they're dumb or that they're not good enough to share. We need to create spaces and realize there are no bad ideas. An idea that maybe is not where you think the song should go could always lead to the place that gets you to the line that was where the song needs to go. I've even seen in write sometimes where silly rhymes, just taking a rhyme and ended up running with it, broke open the box of creativity to a whole nother thought that was never going to happen if it hadn't happened the way that it did. So just remember, there are no bad ideas. Never make somebody feel bad for an idea they bring. Let's just take all those ideas and think about them and take them to the next level of maybe where the song actually needs to go. I think it's really important in a write to serve your co-writers. That can look so many different ways. Maybe it's serving them in a way of just offering great lines. Maybe it's in a way of offering the listening ear we talked about. Maybe it's in having cool chord ideas that you just came up with that you're so excited to share, and that just brought the melody of the song to a new level. Maybe it's getting water for somebody who's choking. Maybe it's just so many ways that you can serve there outside of just the song. And I think that coming into a room with a heart to serve God first, and then your writers, and then the song, just sets up for just great relationships within the co-write. Remember that ideas that are not used belong to the writer who brought it. Being a co-writer is being careful of that. A co-write is a safe place. So when people bring in ideas to share, if you don't use them, it's not something for you to turn around and be like, oh, that's a great idea. I think I want to write it. If you love an idea somebody else brought and it wasn't written, just go after the right aside to that writer and just tell them how much you love their idea and see if maybe in the future you can write with them. But whatever's shared in that write, whether it's ideas or maybe it's even just heart, the co-write is a safe place. And as good co-writers, we should always set that co-write up to be a safe place where people know that whatever's happening there is where it's going to stay. Being a good co-writer to me is also giving back to the song. So, for example, if you're a great singer, well, share your voice on the work tape. Or maybe if there's a demo, you're going to put your voice to that. If you're a great musician, you're building the song, you're offering the chords and the melody, but also maybe you can play the song on the work tape to be shared. If you feel like you're not a strong musician, you're not a strong singer, like myself, I try to give back by making sure the Google Doc is ready, making sure people's contact information is there, maybe doing more admin stuff. If the song ends up getting used, I'm trying to learn how to navigate like PROs and how to get things online and registered properly. That way I also can give back to the song. So I really feel like a good co-writer doesn't let the burden of the song sit on somebody else. Like we all jump in and we all share in that. And maybe there's times where there's nothing that you can give back with, but just always be open to looking and seeing how you can give back to the song also. And it's, remembering that it's kind of a joke, but like co-writing is like dating. You can write with a bunch of people, and just because maybe you don't click, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. It's just writing with people over and over, being the good co-writer, meeting new people, getting in right after right after right. And eventually you start finding the people that you are more comfortable writing with. Maybe that they have the opposite strengths as you do, and so that you just write really well together. And then as you grow and you meet these people, you kind of develop your own little community. You actually become close friends a lot of times. So if you have a couple bad co-writes, it's okay. It might not always be the person that's the problem. Maybe you just write too similar and it just makes it hard. And if you get in a co-write that seems difficult, I've found a lot of times it can be our attitude. And as I said at the beginning, relationships are more important than the song. So just kind of, check yourself. Like, don't be part of the problem. Let the song be what it needs to be. If you don't write well with somebody, it's okay. Walk away with the relationship intact and just continue to look for the co-writers that write best with you. I always say this, and if you've ever heard me share, I think that the best way to sum up co-writing and being a good co-writer, being the best co-writer, is found in 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. I love the way the Passion shares this. The Bible is always the best source to go to, and I feel like it nails co-writing right here. Being a great co-writer is this. It says, love is large and incredibly patient. Love is gentle and consistently kind to all. It refuses to be jealous when blessing comes to someone else. Love does not brag about one's achievement, nor inflate its own importance. Love does not traffic in shame and disrespect, nor selfishly seek its own honor. Love is not easily irritated or quick to take offense. Love joyfully celebrates honesty and finds no delight in what is wrong. Love is a safe place of shelter, for it never stops believing the best for others. Love never takes failure as defeat, for it never gives up. So I just want to leave you with that thought. If you want to think about being a great co-writer, there it is. Yeah, so I hope that this is encouraging to you. I hope that it helps you out. Thank you for taking the time to watch. And if you are interested in connecting more table songs, feel free to check us out on Instagram, Facebook. We have a Discord server where we have worship leaders and band members and songwriters that gather together to encourage each other, to ask questions, to just create community. So, and also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach us. Thanks again.